Okay, welcome back everyone. How are we getting on? All good, I hope. In this class, we're going to focus on the functions, okay? The functions that will, carry out the instructions on when we click on the button, what we want it to do. But before we do that, let's create the loading screen first, which is the only thing in widgets we still need to create, okay? So we'll begin to work on the functions as well in this class, but we'll get the loading screen working too. So we need to right click in the content browser and go on the user interface and widget. And we'll name this one widget underscore loading screen. All right, cool. So it's a simple screen, a simple widget, but let's do it together. So we have the canvas here. It's already in the resolution that we want, which is good. So I then just need to create this screen as I've demonstrated before. So it has a black background. The first thing I'll do is create a border and I'll set it to anchor in the middle because that's where, that's the centerpiece. And I'll place it 0 and 0 and I'll align it to the center to a 0.5, 0.5. All right, so I'll make a rectangle that's a little bit bigger than the screen. Okay, just so we don't have any problems with the scene behind leaking through. Just a bit bigger, maybe 180. And make it black as well. Okay. Here we go. Make it black there. That's where we want to do that. Cool. So I'll lock this position now, this layer. So this background is for our widget. Perfect. So now what's missing? Well, of course, we need to now add the Divi's logo that we had earlier. So I'll add an image here and I'll also anchor this to the center of the screen. And I'll place it at 0 and 0. And then I'll center it and align it with 0.5 and 0.5. I'll set its position to 200 and minus 200 as well, by the way. So that can go just there. Let me add the logo in first and then we can check how it's looking. And there we go, we use that one. Okay, so there it is. And we can see here we need to adjust the size, don't we? So let's adjust that. The position is minus 290. Okay, so this is the position for the logo, and I'll add some text here just to say that it's loading. So just to give a clear indication that something's happening. Okay, so I'll add this text, the same font, which is standard for this project, and we'll go with a size of 40, I think. There we go. Right, and I place it at position 0, so it's already centered, and I'll anchor it to the middle as well. Position 0 in the x-axis and 68 in the y, and I use 0.5 for my central alignment. Perfect. Just center it like that, and let's just see if we can get it a bit more central. So let me find the alignment. Let me find this. Where is it in here? There we go. There it is. So that can center it for us. Nice. So I think one of these measurements might be wrong though. Size to content. There we go. So I'll enable the size here as well. Cool. 120, 150, maybe 180. Okay. I'm going to place an icon in the center. So let's go with 290. Oops. Change the text to loading. So we can literally put in that text here. We can type that in. And then I'll probably come back to adjusting the positioning according with the loading icon. Okay, so I add an icon here, which it will be for our image. There we go. And let's adjust its size, 100 by 100s, just so it's round. And I'll anchor it to the middle too. And align it so it's in the very center as well. Okay, I can move this. Move it sideways a bit, perhaps. And maybe the logo is a bit too big, so you can adjust that. Set it up for 1.5 and 1.5 and then bring it down. And this is what the scene, the screen will look like. Let's drag it up just a little bit. It's all about just playing with it until you get it to be just where you want it. Okay, so now I'm happy with that. Next, I need to create an animation for this icon so that it rotates, okay? Because I want it to rotate as if the screen is loading or the level's loading. So let's do that. Let's create an animation for the icon. And apologies if you can hear the fireworks in the background. Someone's celebrating. Anyway, let's rename this then to reload icon. Cool. And I'll look it up here, connect that, add a transform to the track, and we want to rotate this, don't we? So we'll add a rotation animation just by choosing this angle. Let's do it for about 1 second long, which is how long it's going to take to do the rotation, and just put a keyframe there. And it's going to rotate 360 degrees. Take 1 second to go from 0 to 360 degrees, like that. Okay. There we go. And then in reverse, does the same thing as well. But obviously, we don't need to worry about reverse. So what do we need to do from here? Well, if I use minus 360, will it work? Yeah, it will. So I want it to rotate to this side, but it's accelerating. Can you see how it starts accelerating and then it goes? So this isn't good for animation. We don't want it to be slow and speed up. So what can we do then? Well, we need to just change our curves so they're not automatic. We want them to be linear, okay? So you can edit them here. Similar to the timeline curves that we looked at. You see how they've got that curve here? So you want it to be straight. We don't want it to be slow and then speed up. So let's make this linear. Let's do that again. Linear, cool, there we go. And on the next one too. There we go. So we shouldn't see any alteration in speed now. Okay, cool. So that works. I'll leave it as it is for now, rotating just the once, because that's just how I want it for now. And now we'll do the programming part of this widget. So when I create this widget, we want it to jump up between the menu and the actual loading of the game or the playing of the game. So we'll delete all of these, and I'll get my animation, which is this one for the icon, and I'll just play animation. Okay, and I'll link these. So when I build this, it will run my animation, okay? And the animation lasts for 1 second and rotates just the once. Now, I don't want that. I want it to keep rotating indefinitely. So let's see what we can do here. I think my initial idea would be to have it going for about 8 seconds. So rotating about 8 seconds long, because this loading screen isn't necessary, to be honest. It's just something there to create the illusion that the scene is loading in the background. But the reality is we already know it's there. But it's sometimes nice to have that bit of detail in there to keep your, your user, whoever's using your experience, your product, keep them anticipating something special, right? So let's leave it on screen for about 8 seconds. So if that's going to be the case, we need to create this rotation so it's going to be long enough for the 8 seconds, right? So what we can do is we can make the animation last 1 second, and for it to rotate 8 times, all I have to do is set this to loop 8 times, right? And then that'll be the 8 seconds. Okay, cool. So our loading screen widget is done effectively. There we go. Cool. And it's animated, so that function is all set. So now all we have to do is go back to our menu and put it all together. So let's do that in the next class.